The unexpected meeting. John sat alone in his small, messy lab. The hum of machines and blinking lights were his only friends. He had spent years working on strange experiments, trying to understand the universe. But outside his lab, his life was empty. Friends had come and gone. Family was far away. Loneliness wrapped around him like a heavy blanket. It was a quiet evening. The sun had just set, and the sky was painted with dark purple and gold. John was staring at a small, glowing orb on his desk, thinking about the experiments he had failed that day. Suddenly, he heard a soft, gentle voice behind him. "Are you lonely?" John froze. He looked around. The lab was empty. "Who's there?" he asked, his voice shaky. From the shadows of the doorway, a little girl stepped forward. She could not have been more than 6 or 7 years old. Her eyes were bright, almost glowing, and her hair shimmered like silver in the dim light. She looked unusual, not human somehow. There was something in her face that made John feel both nervous and curious. "Are you lonely?" she repeated. Then, "Marry my mom. She's the kindest." John blinked. He stared at her. The words made no sense. Marry her mom? Why would a little girl say something like that? And who was her mom? "Wait, what?" John stammered. "Who are you? Where is your mom?" The little girl smiled, tilting her head. "She is waiting. But first you must come with me." John laughed nervously. "Come with you where?" "I don't even know you." The girl's smile didn't fade. She took a small step forward. Her voice was calm yet filled with urgency. "Please, you must see her. She will explain everything. You will understand." John hesitated. He was tired. He was lonely. Something in her eyes made him feel safe, or maybe it was curiosity. He did not know. Without thinking too much, he grabbed his coat and followed her outside. The night air was cold and still. The city streets were empty, silent except for their footsteps. The girl led him through narrow alleys, over small fences, and finally to the edge of a forest he had never noticed before. At the heart of the forest, a strange light glowed. It was soft, blue, and pulsing like a heartbeat. As they approached, John saw a small spaceship, sleek and shiny, half hidden by the trees. His heart skipped a beat. He had seen alien ships in his experiments, but never like this way, the girl said. Her small hand pointed toward the ship. John's mind was racing. Am I dreaming? Is this real? He stepped closer. The spaceship's door opened silently, revealing a warm golden light inside. "Come in," the girl said. "Mom is waiting." John took a deep breath. He wanted to refuse. He wanted to turn back. But something inside him, something he had not felt in years, pushed him forward. Inside the ship, everything was different. The walls glowed softly, and strange symbols moved across panels. The air smelled sweet, almost like flowers he had never known. And then, he saw her. A woman stood at the center of the room. She was tall, graceful, and her eyes shone like the girl's. Her hair flowed like liquid gold, and she had a calm, kind smile that made John's heart ache. "You must be John," she said in a soft voice. "I am Selara, Leah's mom." John could not speak. He could only stare. Why? Why is she here? "Why do you want me to marry you?" he asked, finally finding his voice. Selara's smile remained gentle. "It is not just about marriage, John, your life, your loneliness. Everything is connected to what is coming. But first you need to trust us." The little girl Leah grabbed John's hand and squeezed it. "You will understand soon," she whispered. John's mind was spinning. Alien ships, glowing lights, a mysterious little girl, and now this. Extraordinary woman. Nothing made sense, yet he could not walk away. He had always wanted adventure. And now, adventure had found him. As he stood there, the lights of the spaceship reflecting in his wide eyes, John felt something stir inside him. Hope, curiosity, or maybe something more. One thing was certain. His life would never be the same again. And somewhere deep inside, he knew the little girl's words were more than just a strange joke. "Are you lonely? Then marry my mom. She's kindest." John didn't understand yet, but the journey had already begun. Stranger's plea. John followed Leah deeper into the spaceship. His mind raced with questions. What is this place? How is this little girl so sure of everything? And why does her mom need me? The glow from the walls made the ship feel alive, as if it was breathing. Strange symbols moved slowly across panels like they were communicating in a language he couldn't understand. Is this real? John whispered, touching a smooth wall. The surface rippled slightly under his fingers like liquid metal. Leah giggled. It's real. Everything here is real. You just don't know it yet. She skipped ahead, her small feet barely making a sound on the glowing floor. John had no choice but to follow. The ship's interior was larger than it looked from outside. Rooms appeared out of nowhere, and corridors twisted in ways that made his head spin. Finally, they arrived in a wide chamber. In the center, a holographic map floated in the air. Stars, planets, and strange glowing orbs rotated slowly. John's jaw dropped. He had never seen anything like it. That's amazing, he breathed. What is this? Leah turned to him, her serious face making him pause. This is where my mom works. This map shows her world and the world she protects. You will see. She is very special. John stared at the map, then at Leah. Protects? What do you mean? Before she could answer, a soft, melodic voice echoed through the chamber. John, the voice was familiar, calm, and full of warmth. Selara stepped into the light, her presence filling the room. She looked at John with gentle eyes. I know this is strange, but you must trust me. Everything will make sense soon. John swallowed hard. Trust you? I barely even know you. Selara nodded, her smile patient. I understand. But you see, your loneliness, your heart, it is connected to a bigger story. One that involves me, Leah, and your own choices. John felt a shiver run down his spine. He had always thought of life as ordinary, boring, predictable. But now, nothing was ordinary. Leah tugged at his sleeve. Please, John, you have to help my mom. There are people, enemies, who want to hurt her. You can't say no. John hesitated. Fear clashed with curiosity inside him. Enemies? What kind of enemies? Selara stepped closer. Not from your world. They are from far away. They have been chasing me for many years. I came to Earth to hide, to protect my daughter. And now we need you. Your skills, your mind, they can help us. John looked at her, unsure. Me, how can I help? I'm just a scientist. I'm not a hero, Selara smiled softly. You underestimate yourself. What you think is ordinary is extraordinary. You see things differently. You think differently. That is why you are here. Leah nodded enthusiastically. Yes, you will help us, John, I know it. John looked at the little girl. Her eyes shone with an intensity he had never seen in a child. There was no doubt, no fear, only trust. And for some reason he wanted to protect her. Selara gestured toward a console. This will explain more. Touch it. Hesitant, John reached out. The console responded instantly, projecting images and videos. He saw Selara's past, her home planet, her people, and the dangers they faced. Entire cities destroyed, alien ships attacking, and Selara protecting her daughter, running through forests, deserts, and mountains. John gasped. This is incredible. How is any of this real? Selara took his hand gently. It is real, and soon your choice will matter. You can leave, or you can stay, and be part of something greater than yourself. But you must act quickly. My enemies are close. They have sensors everywhere. They will find us soon if we delay. John's heart pounded. Fear, excitement, curiosity, and something else, something he could not name, filled him. He looked at Leah, who was smiling up at him, small hands clasped together. She believes in me. He nodded slowly. Okay, I'll help. But I don't even know what I'm doing yet. Selara smiled brighter than ever. That is all I need. I will guide you. Together we can survive what is coming. Suddenly, a low, vibrating sound filled the chamber. Red warning lights flashed. John felt the ship shiver beneath his feet. Leah's face turned serious. They're here. The hunters. They found us, John's mind raced. Hunters? Enemies? Aliens? His ordinary, lonely life had vanished. There was no turning back. Selara grabbed John's hand firmly. Stay close, trust me. And remember, sometimes the smallest words can change everything. Leah whispered in his ear, repeating the words that had brought him here in the first place. Are you lonely? Then marry my mom. She's kindest, John swallowed. The meaning was still unclear, but he understood something crucial. His life had taken a turn he never expected. And now adventure, danger, and the extraordinary awaited him. As the ship's engines hummed louder, preparing to lift off, John felt the thrill of the unknown. He was no longer just a lonely scientist. He was part of something bigger, something he could never have imagined. The mother revealed. The spaceship shivered as it lifted off the forest floor. Outside, the dark trees blurred past, while inside, John's mind raced. He could barely believe what was happening. A little girl had appeared from nowhere, led him into a spaceship, and now they were flying through the night sky toward somewhere unknown. Leah skipped along beside him, her small hand tightly gripping his. "Don't worry, John," she said. "You're safe with us. Mom is waiting. She'll explain everything." John looked down at her. "I hope so. I really hope so." The ship glided silently, the walls glowing softly, illuminating the faces of the three travelers. John could not stop staring at Leah. There was something otherworldly about her, but at the same time she seemed so human, so innocent. He felt a strange mixture of protectiveness and curiosity. Finally, they arrived at a large chamber. The doors opened automatically, revealing a room filled with soft golden light, and there she was. Selara stood in the center, her presence commanding yet gentle. She was tall, with hair that shimmered like sunlight on water and eyes that reflected a deep wisdom. Her skin seemed almost to glow, and every movement she made carried a quiet grace. She smiled warmly at John, and suddenly his fear and doubt melted slightly. "Welcome, John," she said, her voice like music. "I am Selara, and you must be the one Leah has been talking about." John swallowed hard. "Yes, that's me. I still don't understand. Why am I here? Why does she want me to marry you?" Selara's smile deepened, and she gestured for him to sit. "It is not about marriage, John, not yet. There is a reason your paths have crossed. Your heart, your mind, your loneliness has brought you here at the exact right moment." John frowned, trying to make sense of her words. "But I'm just a scientist. I don't belong in this world." Selara shook her head gently. "You underestimate yourself. Humans often do. Your ability to think differently, to observe, to solve problems. It makes you perfect for what is coming. And yes, your heart matters too. Sometimes the world chooses us in strange ways." Leah ran to her mother, wrapping her small arms around Selara's waist. "See, Mom? I told him he would come. He can help us." Selara knelt down to hug her daughter, then turned back to John. "Leah has faith in you. That is the first sign that you are meant to be here. But there is more to explain, and time is short. My enemies are tracking me, and soon they will be here. You must understand who we are and why you are now part of this story." John nodded slowly, his fear mixed with curiosity. "Okay, I'm listening." Selara waved her hand, and a holographic projection appeared in the room. John watched as a story unfolded. A distant planet, a civilization advanced beyond imagination, cities of light and energy, and Selara standing in the middle, protecting her people from ruthless alien invaders. Then the scenes shifted. Chaos, destruction, fleeing ships, and finally Selara arriving on Earth with Leah. John's mouth went dry. This is incredible." "Why Earth?" Selara's expression turned serious. "Earth is safe for now, but my enemies will not stop searching. That is why I brought Leah here to hide. And now, you. I need your help to protect her, and to ensure that they do not find us." John ran a hand through his hair, trying to absorb everything. "Protect her, me? How can I do that?" Selara smiled softly. "By trusting yourself, John. By using your mind and your heart. You will learn quickly. Leah has already seen something in you that I know to be true. You are brave, even if you do not realize it." John looked at Leah, who was nodding eagerly. Her bright eyes shone with excitement and trust. Somehow he felt an unexplainable bond forming. Not just with her, but with this strange, extraordinary woman standing before him. "Why me?" he asked quietly. "Why not someone else?" Selara stepped closer. "Because sometimes the universe chooses the unexpected. Sometimes it is the lonely, the quiet, the ones who believe nothing extraordinary can happen, who are capable of the greatest acts. You were meant to be here, John. Not by accident, but by design." John felt a strange warmth spread through him. For the first time in years, he felt like he mattered, like he had a purpose beyond the walls of his lab. And somehow he knew she was telling the truth. Suddenly, the ship shuddered. Red warning lights flashed. Selara's face hardened. "They're close," she said. "The hunters have found us. We must move quickly, John. This is your first test. Will you stand with us?" John took a deep breath, looking at Leah, then at Selara. Fear was there, yes, but also determination. Somehow he knew he could not walk away. I'll stay," he said, his voice firm. "I'll help you." "Whatever it takes," Selara smiled, her eyes softening again. "Then we begin. Leah jumped up and down with excitement. See, I knew he would. You're amazing, John. John laughed nervously, realizing that his ordinary life, his lonely, predictable existence, was gone forever. In its place was adventure, danger, and a chance to be part of something extraordinary. And standing before him was not just a mysterious woman, but someone who could change his life entirely. As the spaceship prepared to move to a new, hidden location, John felt a strange mixture of fear and hope. The journey was just beginning, and the little girl's words echoed in his mind. Are you lonely? Then marry my mom. She's kindest. He didn't understand everything yet, but one thing was clear. His life was never going to be the same again. Hidden threat, the spaceship hummed softly as it glided through the night sky. Inside, John could feel the tension in the air. Selara and Leah moved with quiet purpose, preparing the ship for what was coming. For the first time, John realized that this was not just an adventure. It was a fight for survival. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed, casting harsh shadows across the cabin walls. The ship shuddered violently, throwing John against the console. They found us, Selara said calmly, her voice steady but serious. The hunters? They are closer than I expected. John's heart raced. Hunters? How many? What do they want? Selara moved toward a holographic panel, her fingers flying over the glowing symbols. They want me. My abilities. They want to capture Leah and erase my lineage. They will not stop until they succeed. Leah ran to John, holding his hand tightly. Don't worry, John, we will be okay. You just need to trust Mom. John swallowed hard, feeling fear tighten in his chest. He had faced loneliness, rejection, and failure, but never real danger like this. He had never fought for anything. Until now. Selara tapped a symbol on the console and the hologram changed. Outside the ship, dozens of sleek, dark alien ships appeared, moving silently toward them like shadows in the sky. They were fast, silent, and deadly. They are coming, Selara said, her eyes sharp. We need to hide. Follow me. The spaceship shifted, walls moving like liquid as it changed form. A hidden compartment opened, revealing a smaller escape pod. Selara guided John and Leah inside, and the pod sealed around them with a hiss. John glanced at the control panel, still trembling. How do I fly this? Selara smiled briefly. You don't need to. I will guide you. Just pay attention, stay calm, and trust yourself. The pod launched into a hidden tunnel beneath the main ship. Outside, the alien hunters scanned the skies, their sensors searching for any trace of Selara's energy. Red beams of light swept across the clouds, missing the pod by inches. Inside, John's hands shook as he watched the lights flicker. This is insane. They could destroy us any second. Leah held his hand tightly. We're not alone, John. Mom is with us. That's what matters. John took a deep breath, feeling a small spark of courage. He looked at Selara, who was calm, focused, and radiating strength. Somehow, her presence made him feel braver. Somehow he believed that they could survive this. Suddenly, the pod jolted violently. A massive alien ship had spotted them and fired a pulse beam. The pod rocked, alarms blaring again. John slammed a button instinctively, and the pod swerved, narrowly avoiding the attack.
I did it?
He asked, astonished. Selara nodded. Yes, you have instinct, John. That is why you are here. The hunters underestimate humans, and that will be their mistake. Leah clapped her small hands. See, you're amazing. John smiled weakly, still shaking. I hope amazing is enough. The pod descended into a hidden canyon on Earth, a place Selara had prepared long ago. Massive cliffs and thick fog concealed their landing site. As the pod touched the ground, the hatch opened and the three of them stepped into the misty forest. John looked around. It was eerie, silent, and beautiful at the same time. Strange glowing plants illuminated the fog, casting green and blue light on the ground. Birds, or creatures that looked like birds, flew overhead, making soft, melodic sounds. Selara led them deeper into the forest, toward an underground lab hidden beneath the roots of enormous trees. This is where we will stay for now, she said. It is safe. Until the hunters adapt. John followed, feeling a mix of awe and fear. He had never seen anything like this. It was like stepping into another world, a world he had only dreamed about in his experiments. As they entered the lab, Selara activated the defenses. Walls shimmered with energy, creating invisible barriers. Sensors scanned the surrounding forest. Outside, the alien hunters scoured the skies, unaware that their target had already vanished. John finally allowed himself to breathe. I can't believe this. It's like something out of a story. Selara placed a hand on his shoulder. This is reality, John. Sometimes reality is stranger than any story. And right now you are part of it. Leah hugged his leg. I'm glad you're here. I knew you would help us. John knelt down, smiling at her. Me too, Leah. Me too. But even as he felt a sense of relief, John knew the danger was not over. The hunters would not give up. They were clever, relentless, and dangerous. And somewhere deep inside, he felt the pull of the adventure that lay ahead. For the first time in his life, John realized he was no longer just a lonely scientist. He was a protector, a fighter, and perhaps a part of something greater than himself. And as he looked at Selara and Leah, he remembered the little girl's words that had changed everything. Are you lonely? Then marry my mom. She's kindest. John did not understand the full meaning yet, but one thing was certain. His life had crossed into the extraordinary. And the hidden threat looming above them was only the beginning. The bonding, the hidden lab was quiet now, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. The alien hunters had not found them, but their presence lingered like a shadow. John sat on a soft bench staring at the glowing walls. His heart was still racing from the chase and his mind was a whirlwind of questions. Leah ran around the lab exploring the strange devices and glowing plants. Her laughter echoed softly, a comforting sound that made John feel human again. Selara approached him, her steps quiet but confident. She placed a hand on his shoulder. You did well today, John. You remained calm when it mattered most. John shook his head, a small smile tugging at his lips. I don't feel calm. I feel terrified, and lucky maybe. Selara smiled gently. Fear is natural. Courage is acting despite fear. Today you showed courage. That is important. John looked at her, noticing for the first time how kind and patient she truly was. Her eyes held stories he could not yet understand, but somehow he felt drawn to her. She was not just powerful. She was warm, compassionate, and wise beyond measure. Leah hopped onto a nearby table and tugged at his sleeve. Come play with me, she said. You have to see this, look. John followed her, watching as she pressed a series of buttons on a console. Holographic images of distant planets and galaxies floated into the air. Stars spun and planets rotated gracefully. It was mesmerizing. Wow, John whispered. This is incredible. You made this? Leah giggled. Mom made it, but I can play with it. You can too. Selara watched them, smiling softly. John, this is a part of our world. A world of learning, exploration, and wonder. I want you to see it, not just fight for it. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from understanding, not weapons. John felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had spent years in his lab, alone, chasing experiments and theories. But this was real. And for the first time he felt connected, not just to the adventure, but to the people beside him. Selara crouched down to his level. John, I know this is sudden, and I know it is strange, but there is something about you, something that gives hope to my daughter and to me. You have a kindness, a curiosity, and a heart that does not give up. That is rare. John swallowed, feeling a lump in his throat. He had never heard anyone say something like that to him. I don't know what to say, he admitted. Selara's smile was gentle. Say nothing. Just be here. That is enough. Leah tugged at his hand again. Come on, Mom wants to show you something else. They walked to another room where Selara demonstrated how the ship's systems worked. John watched intently, asking questions, trying to understand. Selara answered patiently, guiding him through the complex technology. Every time he solved a problem, Leah clapped and cheered, and Selara's proud smile warmed him. Hours passed, and the three of them settled near a glowing pool of liquid light, a strange energy source that pulsed softly. Selara sat beside John and Leah leaned against her mother. John, Selara began, her voice calm, you might think this world is dangerous, strange, even impossible, and it is. But it is also beautiful, and right now we need people we can trust. People who can love and protect, and people who can hope even in darkness. John nodded slowly. I think I understand. You've built this world for your daughter, and now somehow I'm part of it. Selara reached out and touched his hand. Yes, you are part of it, and that means you are never alone again. We protect each other and we care for each other. That is what makes us strong. John felt a wave of emotions, fear, awe, but also something deeper, belonging. For the first time in years, he felt that he mattered, that he had a place in someone's life. Leah yawned and curled up next to her mother. "I love you, Mom," she whispered. John looked at Selara, seeing the love and devotion in her eyes. He realized that this bond, this strange family, was worth everything. The danger, the fear, the unknown. He wanted to protect them, to be part of their world, and to never let them face threats alone. Selara turned to him once more. "John, thank you for staying. I know this is not easy, but you have chosen the right path. Together we can face anything." John nodded, a newfound determination settling in his chest. "I'll stay. I'll help. I want to be here. With you both," Leah smiled sleepily. "See? I told you he would stay." Selara's hand gently squeezed John's. Sometimes the smallest words, the simplest trust can change everything. Today we bonded not just for survival, but for hope, for love, and for a future we will build together. John looked at the glowing room, at the little girl, and at the woman who had already changed his life in ways he could not explain. Adventure, danger, and the unknown awaited them outside, but inside, in that quiet, glowing lab, he felt something stronger: connection, trust, and the beginnings of a family. And as he thought of the little girl's words that had brought him here, he realized they were not just a joke. They were a promise. "Are you lonely? Then marry my mom. She's kindest." For the first time, John understood, and for the first time he felt ready for everything that lay ahead. The battle of wits. The quiet of the hidden lab was shattered by a low, ominous hum. Red warning lights flashed across the walls, and the soft glow of the energy pool flickered nervously. John sat up, his heart racing. "They've found us," Selara said calmly, her eyes narrowing. "The hunters have adapted. They know we are here." Leah clung to her mother's side. "What do we do?" she whispered, fear in her small voice. Selara placed a hand gently on Leah's head. "We fight smart, not hard, John. You have to trust your instincts. Use what you've learned here." John swallowed hard. He had never been in a real fight before. His life had been formulas, experiments, and theories. But now it was survival, and he was no longer alone. Outside, the hunters moved like shadows through the fog. Sleek black ships glided silently, scanning the forest for any trace of Selara's energy. A pulse of red light swept across the trees, narrowly missing the lab's hidden entrance. "Stay here," Selara commanded. "I will guide you. Follow my instructions exactly." John nodded, gripping the console in front of him. The screens lit up with symbols he recognized, the controls responding to his touch. Selara's guidance was precise, calm, and confident. He realized that for the first time, he was part of something bigger than himself. The first attack came without warning. A beam of energy slammed into the forest near the lab, shaking the ground. Trees toppled and the lab shuddered. John's heart jumped into his throat. "Activate the decoy drones," Selara ordered. John pressed the buttons. Small glowing drones shot out of hidden compartments, creating holographic duplicates of the lab. Outside, the hunters' sensors locked onto the false signals, firing relentlessly at empty spaces. "They're falling for it," John shouted, adrenaline surging through him. Selara nodded, her face calm. "Good, now we move to the secondary chamber, quick." They rushed through twisting corridors, lights flashing as the lab transformed around them. John felt a thrill he had never known, a combination of fear, excitement, and determination. He was no longer a lonely scientist. He was a part of the fight, part of the team, part of something extraordinary. As they reached the secondary chamber, John noticed Leah fiddling with a small console. "What are you doing?" he asked. "I'm helping," she said proudly. "I learned from Mom." Her small fingers pressed buttons, and suddenly, a net of energy beams shot out from the walls, creating a protective shield around them. The hunter's next attack hit the shield and bounced harmlessly away. John laughed, a mixture of relief and amazement.
"You're incredible, Leah."
Selara smiled, her eyes softening as she looked at her daughter. "She is, but now, John, we need to finish this. The hunters will not give up easily." The next wave of attackers came faster, more calculated. John's hands moved instinctively over the controls, redirecting energy beams, activating traps, and guiding Selara and Leah through the labyrinthine lab. He felt a strange confidence building inside him. This was his moment, and he was rising to it. One of the hunters managed to breach the outer barrier. John pressed a button and a hidden platform rose beneath them, launching them upward just as the energy pulse hit. They landed safely in the upper chamber. Selara's voice was calm but urgent. "John, now! Use the ship's cloaking system. We can disappear from their sensors entirely." John tapped the controls. The walls shimmered, and suddenly the lab seemed to vanish, blending seamlessly with the forest outside. The hunters' ship searched frantically, unable to locate them. "They can't see us," John shouted. Selara nodded, her eyes glinting. "We are safe for now. But remember, John, this was only the first test. The hunters are clever. They will adapt." John exhaled, feeling a rush of triumph and exhaustion. He had faced real danger and survived. He had relied on his instincts, on Selara's guidance, and on the little girl who had trusted him from the start. Leah hugged him tightly. "See, I told you we could do it together." John smiled, ruffling her hair. "Yes, together. We make a good team." Selara placed a hand on John's shoulder. "You have grown today, John. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite it." "And you acted." "That is what matters." John looked at the two of them, the mother and daughter who had changed his life forever. The danger had been real, the threat terrifying, but he had discovered something stronger. Trust, teamwork, and the power of connection. Outside, the hunters regrouped, plotting their next move. But inside, John, Selara, and Leah stood together, ready for whatever came next. The battle was not over, but they had survived, smarter and stronger than before. And in John's mind, the little girl's words echoed once more. "Are you lonely? Then marry my mom. She's kindest." This time he understood a little more. Loneliness could be replaced by courage, danger could bring connection, and trust could create strength. John took a deep breath. The adventure, the fight, and the unknown were far from over. But for the first time he knew he was not facing them alone. The choice. The hidden lab was silent again, but the tension in the air was thicker than ever. The alien hunters had retreated for now, but John knew it was only temporary. Every shadow outside the glowing walls felt like a threat. Every soft hum of the ship reminded him that danger was never far. John stood near the energy pool, watching the faint ripples of light. He thought about everything that had happened. Meeting Leah, entering the spaceship, learning about Selara's world, surviving the hunter's attack. His ordinary life, lonely and predictable, was gone forever. Selara approached quietly, her presence calm and steady. "John," she said softly, "the choice is yours. You can leave now. You can return to your old life, back to loneliness and certainty. Or you can stay and be part of this world, part of us." John swallowed hard. His mind raced. The idea of returning to his old life was tempting in a strange way. Safe, predictable, comfortable. But then he looked at Leah, her bright eyes full of trust and hope, and he thought of Selara, her kindness and courage shining like a beacon. He realized something he had never known before. He wanted to belong. He wanted connection, family, and purpose beyond himself. And somehow this strange, extraordinary world had given him all of that. Leah ran up to him, holding his hand tightly. "Please stay, John. We need you. I need you." Her small voice was earnest, full of hope. John knelt to meet her gaze. I don't want to let you down," he whispered. "You won't," Selara said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Trust your heart. That is all you need to do." John took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of fear, excitement, and certainty. For years he had been alone, isolated in his lab, yearning for something more but unsure what it could be. And now the answer was clear. His life was not meant to be ordinary. It was meant to be shared, with these two extraordinary beings who had changed everything for him. "I'll stay," he said finally, his voice steady. "I'll stay with you. Both of you. I'll help protect you, and I'll be part of your world." Selara smiled, a warmth spreading through her eyes. "Then the journey truly begins," she said. Suddenly the ship trembled violently. Alarms blared. The hunters were back, closer than ever, their ships cutting through the night sky like dark, predatory birds. "This is our test," Selara said, her voice calm but urgent. "We must act together. John, Leah, now is the moment to prove our bond." John's hands moved instinctively over the console. He activated energy shields, launched decoy drones, and guided Selara through the lab's twisting corridors. Leah, small but clever, used her knowledge of the systems to create temporary barriers and confuse the attackers. Outside, the hunters fired relentlessly, but inside the lab, the trio worked as one. Every movement, every decision, every action was synchronized. John felt a strange exhilaration, a thrill he had never known. He was no longer a lonely scientist. He was a protector, a teammate, a part of something extraordinary. The final wave of hunters approached, and Selara turned to John. "Now, use the main pulse." John pressed a large glowing button. A surge of energy shot through the lab, creating a massive pulse that pushed the hunters' ships back, forcing them to retreat once again. The lab shook, lights flickered, but they were safe for now. Leah clapped her small hands. "We did it. We really did it." John laughed, adrenaline still coursing through him. "Yes, we did. Together." Selara stepped closer, her hand brushing his. "You see, John, the choice was never just about staying. It was about courage, trust, and heart. You have all three. That is why you are part of this world." John looked at them, feeling a deep sense of belonging he had never known. The fear, the danger, the unknown, it no longer mattered. He had found his place. He had found a family. Leah yawned and leaned against her mother, tired but smiling. "I love you, Mom," she whispered. John looked at Selara, seeing the same warmth reflected in her eyes. "And I am honored to be here with you both," he said quietly. Selara's smile deepened. "Then we begin a new life together. There will be challenges, danger, and mysteries beyond imagination, but together we will face them all." Outside, the night was still, the hunters gone for now. Inside, the lab glowed softly, a symbol of safety, connection, and hope. John knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but for the first time in his life, he was ready. He thought of the little girl's words that had started it all. "Are you lonely? Then marry my mom. She's kindest." Now John understood. It was never just about loneliness. It was about courage, trust, and love. And with them by his side, he knew he could face anything the universe threw at them. As the spaceship hummed quietly, preparing for the next adventure, John smiled. His life had changed forever. The ordinary was gone. The extraordinary had begun, and together they would face the stars.